Loud.
Aha.
And this, can you hear me? This is Russ on the phone.
Hi, Russ on the phone. How you doing?
Okay.
We can hear you.
All right. I just want to make sure I didn't turn the computer on because of the noise level. I'm going to try to turn it on and then go to mute so that I can see, but you won't be able to hear back feed.
Steve, do you have me? Kevin?
Yes, Kevin, I have you.
Beautiful.
Jim?
Jim Pasikoff, myself, Karen, Kevin, Rod, Russ, and
I
Firehouse.
emailed them earlier. Let me see if I can find the email to email it over to you.
I emailed it last night. Did it not go through at all?
No, I didn't get it, Steve.
No, not today. I emailed it about a week and a half ago.
I thought I emailed last night, but
Steve thought he emailed it last night. Yep. No, I emailed it, but let me see if I can find the email. And I'll forward it to you.
I'm gonna go get something to drink. It'll only be water. Oh, here it is.
Hold on.
We won't know the difference, Steve. Don't worry about it.
They had some pretty elaborate spoofs on
This is
Zoom meetings
for
when
the
this whole
14th.
COVID thing started, because
Code,
one guy taped a
the ID is
tag from a tea
836
bag to his mug and poured beer in the mug.
2483 9652.
Steve, can you, I see it says you will let me in, so I'm wondering if you
Code
can.
is 811496.
Now, you can't have the phone and the computer going unless the computer's muted, Russ.
Well, that's what I figured I'd do, commute.
Okay, all right, that'll work.
So,
Okay, good. All right, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
Oh, we got Bob waiting. Should we let Bob in? All right, Bob, we have. I thought I sent it out last night, Bob, and I sent it to everybody, but then
Nope.
somebody's email bounces back with frequency, and maybe it didn't go out at all. I'm not sure. So anyway,
Okay.
It is 7:04. We will call the meeting to order. I have hit record. Thank you, Mike DiGiacomo. We will start with correspondence.
What just happened?
Well, what? Are you good?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. I have Don from Dutchess County. It's not for Don. Let me see. It's from Dutchess County, County of Dutchess, to the East Clinton Fire District regarding Dutchess County Department of Emergency Response Training Center. Dear Commissioner, the Department of Emergency Response has an excellent training center that offers many training opportunities to firefighters. In order to adequately protect the county, fire districts will be required to defend and indemnify the county from any and all claims, lawsuits, or losses that are made in connection with your fire district's use of the training center. In addition, you must provide proof of insurance in the form of a certificate of insurance. There must be general liability insurance coverage of the sum of $1 million per occurrence and $2 million in the aggregate. The County of Dutchess must be listed as additional insured on the certificate of insurance. In addition, you must provide the additional insured endorsement pages from the general liability policy. Your fire district must also provide proof of workers' comp insurance. In order to keep in line with increased training demands, the Department of Emergency Response also utilizes an additional training facility in the town of East Fishkill, owned by the East Fishkill Fire District. This location allows us to offer simultaneous training classes at 2 different geographical locations. In order to properly adhere to the above practice, we ask each user to list the East Fishkill Fire District as an additional insured on the certificate of insurance, as well as the County of Dutchess. Please sign your name and return this letter and the insurance documentation to me by December 31st, 2020. The signed letter and your current insurance documentation must be on file in this office before the training center can be used. The signed letter will be valid for 2 years, 2021 and 2022, unless rescinded by either party. Please send copies of any insurance renewals for these training centers as you receive them, so that we'll have current insurance verification on file. Thank you for your understanding and cooperation. You want to weigh in on any of this, Rod?
No.
Rod?
No.
That doesn't sound like Rod.
No, that sounds like Russ.
Oh.
What I'm seeing here is Rod's connecting to audio.
Mm,
It's not like the other indicators.
yeah. Everybody else has audio. Well, when Rod gets back on, we'll ask him about that. We'll continue with communications. And Bob, if we opt to sign it, I'll forward this to you so you can follow through with the insurance company. Is that fair? We have the statement from RBC. That's all the communication. Rod's still connecting to audio.
Hey, Steve, you probably don't know it, but you're dropping out quite a bit.
Am I?
Yeah, you're about 15 to 20% dropout.
I'm hearing good.
Yeah, I
You're
got
hearing
Steve
me
good
okay?
too.
What's that?
I have
No
you good.
dropouts?
Well,
Very little dropout.
Huh, maybe it's your connection, Bob.
Okay.
If everybody's hearing me but you, that's a possibility.
Yep, that would make sense.
Rod is still connected to audio. Okay, we're gonna come back to correspondence when Rod joins us. The minutes. I need a motion, please, to accept the minutes.
I make the motion to accept the minutes.
Need a second for purposes of discussion.
second.
Okay, any corrections, additions, deletions, or discussion? One note, Karen, top of page 3, very first word. It should be collateralized. You think you missed a syllable.
Collateralized, okay.
Col-
Oh, yeah, okay.
All right. Anybody else have anything major, minor?
Nope, looks good.
Mike, what's your pleasure?
Say aye, Mike. Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Russ?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. The motion carries. Financials. We have all had opportunity to review the vouchers. I covet, please, a motion to pay the bills per the abstract, which we should all have a copy.
I make the motion.
Thank you, Michael. I need a second.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
There was one voucher that wasn't signed by both commissioners.
Speak up, Bob.
I said there was one voucher that wasn't signed by all the commissioners.
Which one was that one?
That's the mileage one.
All right, do we have, well, we're gonna vote on it. If we vote to pay it, we pay it. I don't have any discussion. Russ, what's your pleasure?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Bob? Bob,
Yeah.
I'm looking for a vote for the financials.
Oh, okay. Yes, aye.
Okay. Mike, did I hit you yet?
Nope. Aye.
Nope, aye, and I vote aye as well. That motion carries. Am I that spotty on you, Bob? Because you seem not to be hearing me
Yeah,
sometimes.
it is.
Am I
Yeah,
spotty to
so,
anybody else or no?
It's fine here.
Yeah. I went upstairs in the office and it may not be a good connection. I may have to migrate down.
All right. All right. I have had opportunity to review the bank statements, and I do find that they are in agreement with the financial statements as published by our treasurer and Mr. Pasikoff, and would therefore move that we accept the financial statements. And I covered a second.
I second it.
Okay, any discussion? Bob also had an opportunity to look at the financials. I think, Bob Simon, you have them for everybody, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Okay, any discussion? All right, that being said, Kevin, what's your pleasure?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Russ?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. That motion carries. Rod, we're still waiting for you to connect to audio. Okay, independent audit. We discussed it at length last meeting. Karen, I believe that you advised us that we do have the hard copy and you did file it with the town. Is that correct?
Yes, I scanned it and sent it to Carol and with the letter and requested that she scan and send me the stamp back. I haven't gotten it yet, but I'll follow up with her tomorrow.
Okay, and we also have to file it with Controller's office. Is that correct, Jim? You're muted.
Yes.
Okay, and that was done as well, Karen?
That, I believe, Jim, you were gonna do that?
Yeah, I can do that tomorrow morning.
All right, so Jim's gonna make sure it's filed with the Controller's office.
And this is Bob Simon. I'll put it on the website. I just need that letter. I don't think I have that letter.
I will forward you a copy of the letter. Forward letter.
Steve, copy me on that because when I went to look at it the other day, it wouldn't open for me. But I had reviewed it, when you first sent it out.
Yeah. All right. It was basically what we discussed. Any other discussion or comments on the audit? We beat that up last. Okay.
Steve, are we going to get that audit information out on the web?
Yeah, Bob Simon said he was going to put the audit out on the website.
Yep,
Okay.
I was waiting for that letter and see.
Yeah, and I put a reply letter. I sent it to Jim, and Karen filed it with the town copy, and I'm going to give that to Bob Simon so he can put that letter out there as well. All right, anything else for Mr. Pasikoff? Rod, you're still trying to connect to audio. I don't know if you can hear us or not.
Steve, this is Bob Simon. I have one more comment about the
Yes, sir.
vouchers. So the September check that went to Jim Pascoff seemed to get lost in the mail. So I just need authorization to cut another check.
So his check got lost in the mail. That seems to be, I've had to stop payment on 2 checks this year so far. So what's the, yeah, I got to ask Jim Pasikoff what the procedure is. We can't void it because we should put a stop payment on the check that was lost and cut another check.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I would just, Bob has talked to me about it. What I would do with it is I wouldn't waste the money on a stop payment. What I'll do is if I get a check dated in September, I'll just send it back to Bob.
All right, that's fair.
And then we'll do a journal entry in QuickBooks to cancel the check.
Okay, with a note somewhere there's lost.
Right.
All right, so does anybody have any issues with Bob Simon putting another check to Jim Pasikoff to replace the one that was lost? I guess not. All right, Bob. what you do? Anything
so
else
that
for
would be-
Mr. Pasikoff?
I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah, so am I right now.
Yeah.
Well, what we're gonna do,
How's it now, Steve? Just in case it's these ears just put on.
we're not getting feedback out of you, Bob.
And are you getting it down to me?
It sounds good. Whatever feedback was there is not there anymore.
Yeah, all right, so we're good. Okay, anything else for Mr. Pasikoff, or we're gonna tell him good night? All right,
Good
Mr.
night.
Estes, what say ye?
Good night.
Thanks, Jim. Mr. Estes?
Oh, good evening, gentlemen. Chief report. 6 calls for the month of September, 77 for the year. We've had a tremendous response, and as Steve will attest to our response by last weekend, which we were absolutely hammered and made 100% response. The drill this month will be on 10/21. We are doing chimney fire, ladder operations and safety, and SCBA. Very good
Seasonal.
drill.
Very seasonal.
Thank you very much. That's why I put it there. Kevin will discuss the rehab. Steve, on the physicals, everybody has been doing well. They were vigorously reminded to come at their appointed time, so we didn't get log jammed up, and the first group of physicals went quite well. Question to Steve A. or the board. We have the next round of physicals, I believe it's October 22nd. Any member not complying in their physical after that is going to get a letter from the board. Is that correct?
Yeah, we'll get a letter if, you'll have a list of who signed up. I have a list of who signed up. We need to verify that they did show. How long does it take TEK usually to get the results to us? A yay or a nay?
Usually, I haven't gotten any nays. And as far as somebody else that would come in for a physical after a condition or an accident or injury, that usually is quite expeditious to get back to me that they're back in service.
All right.
So,
yeah, if we don't have a physical by 10/31,
okay.
we will send a letter out that says they are not eligible to respond until they get this taken care of.
Very good. And then we have a couple members that we're not discussing openly now that are probably going to get the other letter too, who just didn't get their physicals. All members were reminded, as Steve will attest to, that they had to get their physical, reminded numerous times. So the hazmat trailer is now outside. We got a heater for it, so it's underneath the pavilion where it will. Problem with it before being left outside was that the pumps in it, a couple of them froze and were damaged, and you're also not supposed to have your foam in a freezing condition. So we do have a heater to go in there. We'll see how that goes. It's not for me. I'm not that guy. That's the president. I don't do the president's work.
Is Jimmy Bathrick present?
No, Jimmy Bathrick's not. No, Bob handed me something, and it's not my job. I'm not the president. You're going to speak on the bids on the surplus equipment?
Yeah.
Okay. Old extrication tools. Steve, did you get that letter?
Yeah, Karen handed me the letter Saturday. Let me just find it here. because I just saw it. Come on. Well, regardless of whether I can find it or not, I will find it. But Karen did hand me a letter Saturday, which was the signed form. Here it is. And just make sure it was signed. North Collins Fire Department, signed by their chief, and I will sign it as well. And I think we'll be all set.
Okay, then if that's good, I will have MES pick it up. They're doing a multi-handed transfer to get it up to North Collins. So
Okay.
our rep's going to meet the Albany rep, who's going to meet the, I don't know, Syracuse rep, who's going to meet the Buffalo rep, who's going to meet the North Collins rep. So that's okay. Good on that.
And I'll get this to you, Karen, so you can file it.
Okay.
Thank you on that, Steve. All members of the support group were informed that beginning next year, all members will be required to certify and naturally have EVOC, so they have to drive the rehab rig. And I totally agree with that, and so they have been duly informed of that. Of course, it's a matter of getting EVOC. We're going to look at how many members we may need to have and see if we can get a class here. Bob's going to be talking about the rescue drill. Sparky, the dog, sitting here in the corner, was surplus 3 years ago. It's going to Clinton, Connecticut. They do a lot of fire prevention, fire safety programs, very active in it. So they were told they could have it on permanent loan, but if at any time we decided we needed it back, I know where it lives. So that's a pretty good symbiotic relationship there. As far as the qualifications to respond on the modules, everybody was informed they will have a one-shot makeup for what they need. And then that will be going down to their responsibility. For the rescue drill, we're going to be doing the bloodborne and HIPAA. There's 3 or 4 people that need to have it. They will be informed that they need to make that drill to get those two modules made up. Other than that, we are in very good shape with the OSHA standard requirements. So very, very good with that. Steve, the 5 personal carbon monoxide detectors were ordered. So that is for the interior members, and I believe you highlighted that you didn't have one, right?
I do not have one.
You need one.
That's very seasonal as well, yes.
You're right. And for those on the board who don't know, we do have multi-gas readers that are on 38 and 12. We have personal carbon monoxide detectors that are issued to our interior firefighters and our EMTs, so that when they go into so for example, let's take Kevin or myself, that we go to immediately to the scene, and we'll know expeditiously if there is a reading or a problem or a dead canary. And they're relatively inexpensive, and they're very good. As Steve would say, on an EMS level, that if we have an elderly person that has, that's feeling ill, well, it could be carbon monoxide. And we're risking our own self too for that. So they've been ordered. They're great, great tool.
Yeah.
That's what I got. And I give you over to Mr.
If there's a general malaise call, the personal carbon monoxide detectors are invaluable. Before Kevin gets going, I will say that the chief staff and I had a sit-down, an informal sit-down, and had a discussion about the rehab vehicle, and there was universal agreement that, well, I don't know how gently to say it. Well, that it was not a necessary vehicle, that it was overkill, and that The thought was we could potentially get rid of it. So Kevin did do some work with the intention of trying to figure out if there was any value on this thing, and to see if and what is available potentially as a van to replace it. Now we're not at this point in time
people to take a 90 or 180-day pass on their mortgage payment, their auto payment, or their credit card payment. We've seen
Marshall took Steve back.
Steve froze up.
Yeah, Steve went back to Martian land. I knew that's where it came from.
there is no more stimulus when that runs its course, when these deferral programs are over, then we'll begin to see who
Yep, they beamed him back up.
there'll be some ambiguity until it happens, and the worst of it in terms of charge-offs probably happening at some point in the second or third quarter for both consumers and services.
Anyone out there?
We're still here, Don.
Hello?
Yeah, we're still here, Don. Can you hear?
Now I can. Thought Steve got beamed back up. He was in the middle of a conversation.
Yeah, he's still out. He's going to sign back in once he realizes he's offline.
You know, I thought the Martians came back to take their leader. No.
He'll be online shortly.
Well, I can speak for Steve on this point that where we're getting away from the avenue of a food truck, still mandated is the decon and the rehab. So where the purpose of that vehicle was essentially a food wagon, which was really unnecessary, decon, rehab are a necessary aspect of today's firefighting environment. So thinking we could actually do better and be more fiscally responsible, we have been looking at the possibilities of replacing that vehicle with something which is more reasonable. Still would have water to wash off and decon and the ability to provide for rehab services in the mister. Something a little bit more logical, though, is what Steve was going with it.
Hey, Don, we just went through our budget cycle. Nothing is said about purchasing any more vehicles for this year. You're talking about next year, and perhaps after you sell the unit that we've got now. Is that correct?
That's correct, but I can't speak for Steve. Maybe the Martians will bring him back, but I can't speak for Steve. He was the one that was giving this conversation, but that's basically what is being explored.
Okay, so you're getting value and see where you can offload the existing unit.
That is correct. I mean, Steve has more of the information therein, but as he said, he met with the chief staff, and we are totally in agreement with looking at the possibilities going forward. It's nothing that's occurring this year.
Yeah, so in the budget cycle of 2021, we'll address purchasing a unit, because we've purchased quite a few units fairly recently. Your truck, the brush truck, and we're saving up to replace the big unit.
Oh, we're got quite a good timeline before we have to do any of the first due or the tanker. We're well positioned on that.
Okay.
On that, what you call the food wagon, was that purchased new or is that a used vehicle?
It's a used vehicle, Russ.
Okay.
It came from Baltimore, Maryland. And I would shudder to tell you what they paid for it.
I was just wondering what somebody would be interested in buying it, maybe to convert it into a little mini camper or something, you know?
No, not a camper. Somebody's going to buy it. I think that probably Russ's Hot Dogs in Schultzville would do very well with it.
Yeah.
I'm back. It's pretty bad when you get thrown out of your own meeting.
Hey, Steve, can you call Rod and see if he can reboot? Because he's still not with us.
Yeah, I was gonna, but somebody else here is on the phone. Let me see if she's off. Hold on.
Text me his number. I'll call him.
All right, I'll do that. I think I can call him. Hold on.
Okay.
Hello. Yeah. I didn't look at what you sent me. I'll look at it right now.
That's not working. We'll have to see if he comes back. Rod, if you can hear us at all, we're on a, you're connecting to audio is going continually. Might want to try to sign out and sign back in. I'm not sure what to tell you. All right, where were we? I was prefacing Kevin's report, and I know there must have been some more discussion while I was gone. Pick it up where we left off, or we can go to Kevin, whatever your pleasure is.
You were talking about the food truck, Steve.
Yeah. And does anybody have anything else to add? I know Kevin was doing some legwork, but the intent was we were trying to unload that. We weren't happy with the what we were getting out of people. So
I just had a question, Steve. Maybe you or Don or somebody else could explain the logic behind selling this one and getting another one. I kind of think I know, but I'd like to hear it.
Don, I could say something, but I'm gonna let Don go first.
All right. The idea is that where the focus of our mission and mission mandated through state is decontamination and rehab. I'd say rehabilitation, but we aren't rehabilitable about it. And this vehicle is a little more cumbersome than needed to meet those two goals. So still requiring that we do have water, that we are able to do a decon. You don't need a full-size vehicle of that nature. You can do one with a lot smaller van, a lot more practical, and something that would be easier put in either this or another fire station. Either way, you know, it's unnecessarily large. And so looking at the possibilities of getting something that functions better, we put an awning on the side for rehab. The other thing that Steve had a concern with, and he got no disagreement from the officer staff, was really didn't like the idea of the food being cooked and the decontamination going on right together. And I can't disagree with him on that point. So with this, yeah, we'd still be doing decon, and of course the rehab with in conjunction with 71, but you wouldn't have the big food function, which is not necessary. It's not our main purpose.
Well, we've also had a lot of issues with the generator. The generator crapped out again at the Stanford call. I think if you polled the commissioners, there would probably be a majority that said that they were sick of putting money into the generator, and that vehicle is going to deteriorate sitting outside. I don't think it was a wise choice when it was purchased. You know, the big pill that's hard to swallow is what we paid for it versus what we can get for it, and that's something we have to, either we do nothing, or we come to terms with that, or we work harder to get another bidder if we decide this is where we want to go. It was not my intention to try to decide anything tonight, but it was my intention to let people know what the chief staff was thinking, and some of the legwork that we're doing with the intention of it in the near future, potentially presenting a detailed presentation about the full cost. So forgive me if you think I jumped the gun, but
Steve, when you were getting back online, I was talking with Don, and he agreed with me. This is for 2021.
Oh, yeah.
We just, and I don't mean early, I mean in the budget cycle for 2021. So that's what, September timeframe? We just went through our cycle and nothing was said about a purchase of another vehicle, especially with after all the vehicles we've purchased recently. Certainly doing the lead work now, but no more purchases in the near future.
all right. So Kevin, we kind of stole your thunder maybe, but what else do you have to say?
All right, well, I'll just go by the van. We're looking for a van with a taller roof. I looked online. I didn't go out, but I went online to see if we could buy or find a used one that was Hearst or Avis or one of those companies. And everything that they had online was running $50,000, and it was in the ballpark around $25,000.
50,000
miles. I went to Ford. I went to Chevy. Ford makes a higher van. Chevy does not. Dodge makes a higher van. Nissan makes a higher van, but the Nissan van is not what we need. So I'm taking that out. And the only other one that would have a higher roof, what we need, would be a Mercedes, and they're way out of the ballpark.
All right, what else do you have for non-van information, Kevin, in the chief's report?
Okay, the rehab, they said that the generator it went out again. I called the guy, he's supposed to come Friday. He says it's either the plug or maybe the board is going bad. We won't know till he gets here. That's the only thing I can say about that.
Kevin, can we get them to do the work? We just paid them a lot of money, and they guaranteed that it's working. They didn't do that.
They had it running at their place for like 10 hours, and it didn't. It was working until the last call we had on Saturday. Then it shut down and ran for 45 minutes. Don and I had it running out here Monday night. It ran for an hour and 10 minutes, and then shut down. So I don't know. I'm just letting you know what's happening. I've been in the process of getting all the serial numbers on the pagers, driver research. We got 2 people left, or 2 vehicles left, and that should be done. And that's all I have to say.
All right, we got anybody there from EMS?
Hang on.
Yes, this is Bob Simon. First Lieutenant, EMS. We had for September, we had 13 calls. That brings the year-to-date to 98 calls. We did have a busy weekend, as Don just said. I think we had 7. One was a fire. So we had 7 calls. 8 calls. We did have, we had 1 COVID, but they've actually transported themselves because they wanted to go to a hospital that was too far from where we are. That individual's vitals were stable, so they called the doctor at Northern Dutchess, and they said it'd be fine, so that's what they did. We do have a drill plan for this month. I think, what is it, the 28th?
Your drill is,
The 27th. So we have a drill 27th. We're going to be covering medical emergencies. And we are going to try to, if there's folks that need HIPAA or bloodborne pathogens, we're going to cover that as well. That's pretty much it for us. Oh, the computer in the ambulance has been fixed. We sent it out. That only cost the district $245, so it's actually quite reasonable. And that's pretty much it.
All right.
One other thing that is not EMS related, it's IT related. The printer in the chief's office is, the community room is making noises, so I'm going to actually call the Ryko and have them come out and fix it. So we'll do that, because I think it's just something that is loose. It's making a grinding noise when, but all we have to do is open and shut the door and it starts up again. So I don't think it's too bad. We'll see. If it's going to be a big expense, we won't do it, but we're going to at least
What are you thinking of big expense?
Pardon me?
What are you thinking is a big expense?
Thousands of dollars?
Well, 200, 300, 400? What do you think is big? When does it get big?
So why don't we make a motion, Bob, to authorize up to a certain amount and let Bob run with it?
Sure.
Bob
Jasinski.
Recommend the amount.
Well, I'm going to defer to Bob Trzynski since he has printer hardware experience. What do you think is reasonable?
That thing is expensive to fix.
It seems
I'd say up to $500.
Okay.
After that, we gotta think of something else.
I second that. Any discussion? Mike, what's your pleasure? Russ?
Aye.
Kevin?
I'll go with an eye on that.
Bob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. That motion carries. All right, anything else on EMS, Bob?
I got a question.
Who's that?
Bob is done.
Oh, Bob's done. I had a question. Why don't we just make a policy that commissioners or heads, like fire chief or other people can spend up to a certain amount instead of doing this all the time?
Don is authorized to spend $500 a month on miscellaneous supplies. Susan is authorized to spend $500 a month on miscellaneous supplies, and that has saved us a lot of these.
Well, why doesn't this one just go to Don since it's Don's office?
Probably because then he can't spend it on. Because then he can't spend it on axes and other things.
All right. It just seems kind of silly to approve something so small.
Yeah. All right. Surplus equipment. Last month we surplused the boat, the utility trailer, and the air chisel with the intent of me getting a notice put out for Karen. I got a notice to Karen. I also intended to get the items listed on Craigslist. I did not get there this past weekend, so my intent is to get it on this week with sealed bids due in the November meeting. So I do apologize for my tardiness on that. All right.
Steve,
Yeah.
these are gonna be sealed bids with a minimum bid according to what Don said the other night, right? Like $1,500 minimum on the boat and $500 minimum on the trailer?
That's what's going to be published, is $500 minimum on the trailer and $1,500 minimum on the boat, unless anybody else has any great ideas that they should be more or less. Because we're not going to give them away.
I see that Dutchess County had a sale of surplus equipment, and I found it interesting that you could go online and bid, and apparently it showed the last bid so they could, you know, you knew that you had to go above a certain thing and keep the bids going. I don't know if that's a thought process or not, you know.
I've seen other municipalities do that. I don't know. I think they're usually through an auction website.
Yeah, it was that absolute auction down in Pleasant Valley.
Right. So, in my mind, we were just going to do sealed bids like we agreed to last meeting.
All right, whatever.
Yeah. All right. People's information, New Hackensack, I had some kind of fire. So, Rod ran out of there and went down to the firehouse to deal with that issue. Trying to look and see what we could hit next. Budget workshop is this coming Tuesday, 10/20. We're doing it on Zoom. You should have a Zoom invitation. I will probably try to go down to the firehouse myself and set up on Zoom down there. So if anybody shows, we can have that covered. Bob Simon, did Jim Pasico give me the information I asked for? I honestly don't recall.
He has it in a PDF format, so you should be able to show it on the screen.
Okay, did he send that to me?
I thought he said he did. Remember when I sent him a note, he said, "All right, took care of that."
All right, I'll
double check with him tomorrow. How's that?
All right, thank you. All right, so that's at 7 o'clock. It's for 1 hour. After that, we will have a vote to adopt the budget formally. The VMUX issue on the ambulance, Bob already discussed. That was fixed for a minimal amount of money. Physicals, Don already discussed. This active member roster. Karen, you said that you did not get any new active member roster from the company.
Not for this meeting, no.
All right, so there should be no changes, except I know that Ed should be there at some point to tell us that there is a change. So we're gonna wait on that.
Oh, Steve?
Yeah.
Ed gave me a letter that I already sent to Karen. He said he might not be able to make it. That's why he gave me that letter.
All right, well, it needs to be announced, discussed at the meeting, so it's entered in the minutes, because if it isn't in the minutes, it didn't happen.
Do you want me to read it?
Please.
Okay, hold on. Dated October 12, 2020, let this letter serve as notice of my resignation from the group known as Support, effective this date, 10/12/2020. Respectfully, Tim Odell.
All right, so that needs to be reflected in the active member roster as of the next time we receive it. I think the thought process was they were going to wait until physicals are done to see if there was anything to do there.
Hey, Steve, question. Is Tim still a fire policeman?
Yes.
Okay, so he's still, okay.
All right, district elections. I did, even though Rod isn't here, I did get a communication from Rod in regards to the district elections, and I'm going to share that email here. Share screen. I think I can. Wait a minute. Bear with me. That's not it. Bear with me. Ooh. Cancel. Don't want to do that. Stop share. Well, we may end up just reading this letter. Crud. All right, here's what Rod wrote, because the district elections are what date, Karen?
The 8th, December 8th.
December 8th, he writes, and I asked him in light of all the write-ins and other ballot issues that are happening, what's going on, what's been authorized for fire district elections. He writes, there are no special New York State provisions for the December fire district elections. No early voting, no mail-in voting. At this point, absentee ballot voting is not an option or a substitute, is really what I think he means. Very, very, very few districts allow for absentee ballots. Parenthetically, we do. And even if ECFD allowed absentee ballots, it would have to be because the voter is truly absent. While New York State has changed the requirements for the general election for an absentee ballot, fear of contracting COVID-19, no such reason exists for fire district absentee ballots. The voter would have to be truly absent. In-person voting with appropriate social distancing and mask usage is the method of voting. I will be watching the November 3rd election to see how the voting locations handle in-person voting, a person at the door limiting the number of voters inside, enforcement of mask wearing, etc. So, I don't know what people want to do with this. I know there's some wariness. That room is not very large. My one thought of what we could investigate is that the elections have to be in the district. Would it be possible to get, say, the room at the town hall on December 8th?
That's a good idea. It's a big room. Distancing is a lot safer. And I think the airflow is better.
Right, and then we could go with the people at the door enforcing mask enforcement, et cetera, and so on, right? So we might have to hire an additional election inspector, but my hope was to ask Rod if that was permissible. I can't see that it wouldn't be as long as it's in the district. I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts or wants to weigh in on that. Bob, do you have any connections at the town hall that if you could inquire if that space would be available for such a purpose?
Steve,
Yeah.
can I jump in?
Sure, go ahead.
December 8th is the second Tuesday. It's usually a town board meeting that night. So you might not be able to use town hall.
No, we won't, not gonna be able to use the town hall.
Good idea, though.
Any other large facilities? I could
How
check
about
to see, I could check to see if the church in Schultzville, that big gymnasium across the street is available.
That sounds good.
Anybody have any objections or potential
How
objections?
about the
to that?
Community Valley Church, where you guys are going to be voting?
Community Valley Church is the one right by the Taconic?
Yeah, that's where you're going to be voting on election day.
Well, that's not where I vote. I vote at the town hall.
Well, I mean, the ECFD people are not going to be voting at the firehouse. They're going to be voting at the Community Valley Church.
I'm fine with doing it at the firehouse. I mean, we just limit it to two people coming in to vote, and when they're done, 2 other people come in. Isn't that far enough away from everybody?
The problem with that is you're going to push a lot of people out into the parking lot.
Times I've been here, there's no more than like 4 or 6 people. They can wait in their cars. You could even have people come up in their cars and sit in their cars until they come in a line.
How many people do you have show up to these votes? I don't know.
Not many.
I mean, if you're going to have number at all, if you're going to have any number at all, I think the church room up here in Schultzville would be much better. If you're only going to have a couple dozen people show up, I guess the firehouse would be sufficient.
Well, we had 180 people show up last time, but we had some referendum on the agenda.
Before that, we were in the 200s.
Yeah, we've had 200 people show up. And I personally hate to limit participation because people perceive that the venue is not safe.
Well, I mean, if you could get permission from the church up here, I think you got a big enough parking lot, you could have people come in the front door and then exit a side door, so you would have one-way traffic. And if I'm picturing it right, I think it might be a lot more convenient.
Well, there's a big door on the side where they could exit. If we needed to get, I think there's pretty good lighting. There's lighting in the parking lot. I could inquire. As Elliot says, Valley Community Church, they're doing the general election on November 3rd or whatever, Elliot?
Yeah, people who normally, I forget which district, which election district it is, but people who normally vote at the firehouse are voting at the church, at the Community Valley Church, because of the concerns about the size of the room. So there is a precedent for using, not that it matters, but there is a precedent for using the Community Valley Church if you're so inclined.
I mean, my one hesitation on Schultzville is it's not near the population center, but it is in the district and it's a big building and I'm 99% sure I could get access to it.
Does it have to be in the district?
Yes.
Oh, well, okay. I wasn't aware of that.
Steve, I have to agree, if I may weigh in for just a second, that I think your idea and the precedents we're doing the voting there now in the Valley Community Church seems extremely logical to continue that where the base of the population does reside. I think you'd find a greater voter turnout by having it near the same jurisdiction.
Does anybody know anybody at the Valley Community Church?
You know who does is Tony.
Yeah, he lives right next door, doesn't he?
And I believe he belongs to the church, or his brother does.
Would you have his number, Karen? Could I impose on you to make that contact?
Sure, yep.
And if that doesn't work, is there consensus that would be a good first choice?
Sure.
Okay.
If that didn't work, that big church hall next to the town hall is huge. It's a basketball, basketball court.
Yeah, so if that doesn't work, if the Valley Community Church doesn't work, I think our second choice would be to go to the that big hall across from the church there in Schultzville, right next to the town hall.
Clinton Alliance, right?
Yep.
So if Karen can't get access to the first choice, can we all agree that we automatically go to the second choice and we don't have to meet and talk about it?
Is that good with you, Russ?
Yeah, very good.
How about you, Mike?
Yeah, that's fine.
Kevin?
That's fine with me, but can we get into the Clinton Alliance? Is that automatic?
I'm 99% sure I can get in there.
Okay, well that's fine.
And Bob, you good with that?
Yeah, first down over in on Salt Point, and then the other church up here on Center.
All right, and now Karen, you would normally put an election notice out in our publication, or how does that work?
Yeah, the election notice goes out in the Northern Dutchess News, and then it goes to the town clerk, and it goes on our website.
All right, so we would have plenty of time to do all those things, and we would just put a different site for the election.
Yeah.
Anybody have any concerns with that? Any hesitation?
Are we going to do any temperature checks as they walk in, or allocate somebody to do that?
I can borrow the temperature check gun from work. If that's what we think we should do, I think we should have somebody at the door making sure that people are wearing masks. It cannot be a commissioner. But I think we should hire an additional person. We usually hire 3. Is that right, Karen?
We have Tony as the chair and then 2 election inspectors.
Okay, so if I think we should hire a 4th to man the, hey, Rod.
Okay, so 1 more election inspector.
Yeah. Hey, so Rod, we were talking about the district elections on December 8th. And the thought process was that that hall is rather limited in size and probably would make some people uncomfortable. I'm sure the elections have to be in the district. Is there an issue having the elections at an alternative site if it's published in the notice, in the town hall, on the website, et cetera?
That would be fine. There's no restriction against having to have it in the firehouse. It can be any place, but it does have to be in the district.
Okay. All right. So what we're going to do then is our plan is to pursue the Valley Community Church, which is the new election site for that end of the town anyways. And then secondarily, we would go for the Clinton Alliance Church in Schultzville, both of which are in the district and have large facilities. That's the plan, right, folks? Also,
Yeah.
Rod, did you guys get this letter from the County of Dutchess that I read in communication? I don't know when your tones went out.
About a minute before 7.
Okay, perfect. So did you get this letter at New Hackensack about from the County of Dutchess about the insurance that we have to have on hand, naming them as an additional insured, and naming East Fishkill as an additional insured?
Oh, for training. Yeah. Yes, we did. You only need to provide that if you're going to use the training center.
Don, what are our plans? And are we going to use the training center in the next 2 years?
Well,
Well, right now, the training center is supposedly a super site, so I'm not sure about the availability there anyway.
well, you would be able, if you decide that you want to use it a year from now, you could provide the certificate of insurance at that time.
Yeah, we need to be able to do that because requirements are that you have to do a live burn for interior guys once a year, notwithstanding if the majority of our interior guys have been in a working structure fire in the course of 2020, and that suffices for your live burn. So I have to look at who may need a live burn, but yeah, we usually do it in conjunction with West Clinton and a couple other companies, but I don't see it happening this year anyway.
All right, but this is for 2021 and 2022. So
Yes.
if that's what you need, Don, I would move that I be authorized to sign this letter, and I would forward it to Bob Jasinski for him to follow through on the insurance aspect. I
agree.
Yeah, I'll second that for discussion, Steve.
Go ahead, Bob.
I don't know if there's a cost involved in that. Our insurance, there isn't?
There should not be. There should not be.
Okay, yeah. Actually, if that's the case, Kara, you can actually sign it, get it to Kara, and she could send it over to Linda. I don't even need to be a middle person.
All right, that's fine. Any other discussion? All right, Russ, what's your pleasure?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Kevin? Kevin's chair is absent. Bob?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. The motion carries. I will get that to Karen as well. It is signed. All right, Roddy, while we got you, before you run out again, policies. We had discussed the active member processes as in the district policies. Did you make any headway on that?
I did not. I apologize. I should have had that done for you, but I didn't. I'll have that out in the next week or so.
All right, we'll revisit that next meeting. Facilities committee update, Kevin. His chair's vacant again.
Yo, Kevin.
I'm plugging in. I'm running low. I'm back.
All right, facilities committee update. Kevin?
Yes.
Facilities committee update, please.
As far as,
Can you
okay,
update
so-
us if there are are there any updates from the facilities committee?
what we did was we contacted Mitchell Associates and we contacted PRA, the two architects. As far as I know, once again, I contacted Dennis from PRA today because he was gonna give me dates that they could come down. I contacted him today. He said he was sorry. The one guy in the office was out. He should be back tomorrow. We should have dates from them tomorrow when they would be available to come down. So I'll put those out to see when everybody's available. As far as Mitchell Associates, there's those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions that he would like answers to, and he will crunch numbers free of charge and then come down.
Right. Now, I think it's important to emphasize that we're not jumping in with both feet to get a firehouse quote. What we're doing is going through the process of justifying, and part of what we're looking for the architect to do is help us to define where the deficiencies are in our facility, okay, relative to PESH and you know, NFPA and OSHA requirements, and also to discuss plans. Can we rehab the facility we're in? Okay, we may all jump up and down and say, of course not. Okay, but these are legitimate questions that the public is going to ask and that we have to have intelligent answers for, right? Can we rehab that facility and start incrementally adding facility across on the new property? You know, what is the process? What should we budget? There's a lot of preliminary work that we need to be done. So I don't, you know, we're not in a position where we're looking to design a firehouse and jump in both feet. We're in a situation where we need to do our due diligence and justify the need, be able to present the need to the public. We very much need to keep the public engaged throughout the process, right? And I just, you know, we need help. We need somebody to help to start us off, right? And we're not ready to jump right in. So I don't want to mislead anybody, but I don't, you know.
Mitchell Associates is involved with the Putnam Valley Fire Department's new building, $11 million building. They've been working on that with Putnam Valley for 6 years. So they are aware of the time that will take to get from where you are now to where you want to be.
All right, and they're used to that kind of process?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And Steve, you know, Dennis from PRA Architects, he's going to send us dates down that they can come down.
Right.
I don't think, I think the questions that Bob from Mitchell Associates, I don't think they're bad questions, because probably Dennis is going to want to know some of those answers too.
Yeah.
And like what Bob said was, you need a base to start from before you can even go forward.
And are they questions that you feel comfortable answering, or are they questions that we need to discuss?
Well, they're going to be questions that I'm going to need help with getting answers. I don't think they're tough questions. I put them out there. I sent an email out.
When'd you do that?
I sent it to you. I sent it to all the commissioners.
I didn't say you didn't. I just wondered when you did.
I'm going to say Monday.
Okay.
Because I spoke to those guys on Monday. So what, 12th? And I have the questions right here if you want me to read them.
No, I got it right here.
Okay. And like Bob from Mitchell Associates, he was like, you know, I'll crunch these numbers and for nothing, you know, and give you a base of where you're going to be able to start from.
All right, I think a lot of these questions we have quick answers to. Bob Jasinski, I bet you know this one, the first two off the top of your head. What's the tax base? What's the assessment value of the district?
It was nope. I'm gonna have to look it up. I'm not gonna. It's not in front of me, so I'm not gonna say it.
But we
I know
had
we
that.
were lower than West Clinton by about 100,000.
No, I mean, I think we're talking the tax base. So what I think what's the assessment value of the district? To me, that
Right.
means what's our tax base? What is the total assessed value of the properties
Yep.
in the district?
I just got that from, I've got it in email somewhere.
All right, can you forward that to
I
Kevin?
can get that to Kevin, yep.
Yeah. What's the current rate? What's our mill rate?
Oh, what, we were 1.57?
Okay, our
we're-
annual budget is 540,000. We have $400,000 in reserve in the capital fund, Kevin.
Okay.
How much per year has the reserve gone up? It depends
Now,
what year.
Steve, is that available for the firehouse?
Yeah, that's the capital reserve fund.
So that's available for the firehouse if we move forward?
If yes.
Okay.
Can I interject there, an
Yeah.
explanation? That money isn't going to buy any bricks, stones, or doors. That's to pay the lawyers, to the bonding agent, the engineers, the architects.
Yep, you're
And that's
100%
just to get
right.
the start process. It is
That's all
not-
part of the process.
Yeah, and so that's what that's for. And it, according to Pasikoff, it's deficient. We need to be significantly above that to actually start. Again, no bricks, no lights, no doors.
Yep.
Okay. Understood.
How much per year has the reserve gone up? This year, I think we're budgeting $45,000 to that fund. And we, as we have surpluses, migrate money toward that fund.
Okay.
Assessment value of the average house in the district. Oh, a whole lot more today than it was yesterday. I don't know. If anybody's,
Absolutely.
if anybody's looked at what price housing values are doing around here, I mean, it's absurd.
Kevin, do you know Teresa over at the town hall, our assessor?
No, I do not, Bob.
Okay, I'll call and ask that question of her and see what we come up with that.
Of the assessment value of the average home?
Yeah, that one I didn't ask.
Okay, and you're gonna get back to me on what is the assessment value of the fire district?
Yeah,
Can I
that
jump
one I
in?
have.
Steve,
Okay.
Steve, can I jump in for a minute?
Please.
I'm on parcel access. The assessed value is 356,200, of which 208,000 is the land. And so the
No,
rest would be the building.
That's the firehouse, but we're talking about the tax base.
Weren't you talking earlier about the assessed value for the firehouse?
That's not the way
No.
I'm reading that question.
No, it's the entire tax base of the district.
No, there was a previous question. I understand that. But I think the second question that Kevin raised was for the assessed value of the firehouse property itself, was it not?
No, what's the assessment value of the district? I read that to be what's the tax base.
Okay, yeah, so, yeah, Warner, maybe I was wrong on that, but yeah, the first one is what is the assessment value of the district?
Oh, okay. Well, that's not, okay. I misunderstood what you had read.
Yeah, so
Sorry.
I interpret that to be the tax base. So Bob has that, I know. You'll verify the mill rate, Bob, and then
Yeah.
the average assessment value in the district. I mean,
That's a new question.
Can I
Bob?
suggest,
Teresa works on Saturday mornings
Yeah, I'll get over there.
and Wednesday afternoon, I believe.
All right, so we got 4 of the 6 questions answered right now, and Bob's gonna find out the other 2. So we'll get those. I'll get a hold of Bob from Mitchell Associates. And Dennis should be contacting me tomorrow on some possible dates that they can come down.
And remember, it's not about come down and design us or think about a new firehouse. It's about what are our options and why
Absolutely.
are the options
Yeah,
there.
and they know that. They know we have an
Okay.
existing one. They even, while I was talking to them, they even Google mapped the firehouse and looked at it, and they were looking at it.
Right.
I mean, if you look at the,
Art Weiland's been trying to ask a question. Steve, do you want to? I've seen Art's hand up for quite a bit.
I thought he was just being friendly and waving.
I hope not.
Actually, you can get town of Clinton average values from the Census Bureau, but unfortunately it's not broken out into the districts, although if you then divide the districts to the two, the assessor would tell you what both districts total value is, and then the average value might help from the census figures. You want me to try and find that?
Yeah, I'm thinking that you got to be careful, Art, because while the number of properties would be more appropriate, but number of properties could include vacant land. In this town, as we all know, average is going to be way misleading because the standard deviation is gonna vary between, you know, the property on the corner of Pumpkin and Maple with the property at the corner of Pumpkin and Electronic, right? And one's probably 100,000 and one is for sale, I think, for 5 or 8 million. I don't remember which. You know, so the average of those two properties is 2.6 million, but that's not really the average house in the district. So you got to be careful with averages. It's going to be a huge standard deviation. But Teresa might have the best information.
She's very helpful.
All right. All right. So that gives you a start, Kevin, and gives you a trail to sniff along. So you're trying to arrange those meetings. You're going to involve all the people on the facilities committee.
Absolutely.
And we'll revisit this next time. Now,
yes, Steve, like I said, once I hear from Dennis with the dates that they're available to come down, I'll put them out to everybody, and everybody can agree on one date for Dennis and his associates to come down.
Okay, that'll work.
Kevin, do you have a key fob that works? Can you get access?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
Yes, I do, Bob.
All right. I was looking at this tech contact real quick. Rod, you made a suggestion that we had sent to her a contract. You had made a suggestion. Where's your email?
The suggestion I made was that the notices from TEK were going to go to the firehouse at the firehouse address. And if your firehouse is like our firehouse, it might get to the intended recipient or it might not.
Right.
So maybe you might want to consider having it go to the commissioner who's in charge of the physicals, or to Karen, perhaps, as secretary, rather than having it wander around the firehouse.
All right, we're going to have it go to Karen. Karen, I honestly don't remember, so please forgive me. Did we already sign and send a contract to them?
Yes.
All
yes.
right.
They always send, I don't know if this was changed, but they always send the physicals to the PO box.
What PO box is the
181?
181?
Are we sure that that's secure and nobody else has access to it other than you?
Me and Bob Simon. I think Bob Simon has access to it. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, just the two of us, though, as far as I know.
And there's no extra keys or any access floating around anywhere.
Not that I'm aware of.
All right.
Yeah, I have access to the PO box as well. This is Bob Simon.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, we're just gonna send that back to them. I don't think we need to discuss that any further. West Clinton. We met, in executive session, we discussed some ideas. Is it the consensus that we want to try to arrange a meeting between the two boards?
If we can.
You want the phone? Okay, I will contact Todd and I will try to do that.
What do the other commissioners think? It's not just me.
That was the consensus I kind of left with. I just want to verify that that's where we want to go.
I got a question. I think the last we talked about it was to try to get all the commissioners from both districts together. And I was wondering if Rod could be there to how could I say, alleviate any concerns that somebody from West Clinton might have about their liability and about the potential for them getting jammed up if something went wrong. And I know you had said that, you know, we're a volunteer and that they're covered, but like I said, if I was going to sign that agreement that I saw for the town of Washington, I'd be very hesitant too also, because everybody's afraid of being sued. So I don't know if Rod would be available to go to that meeting also to answer any legal questions that they might have.
Well, I know that West Clinton does have their own legal counsel, and so I would not be in a position to advise West Clinton as to their liabilities or what they should or should not do. I'm more than happy to go to the meeting as East Clinton's counsel and advise you gentlemen on what you should or should not do, but I would not be in a position to advise West Clinton.
Well, I read over that one you had originally for the town of Washington, and even though you had a section in there that more or less sounded like, we know you're a volunteer organization and this is geared upon your best response available, it being a non-lawyer, that thing would have concerned me to sign anything like that, you know. And I'm assuming the people in the commissioners from West Clinton might have the same conception that, you know, we don't want to put our name down on something like this. So, I mean, I think that could be the stumbling block.
I thought the point of the meeting was more to get the commissioners together and discuss things and maybe come to agreement and then put the agreement past the lawyers later, but to have a discussion just between the commissioners.
I mean, I personally think that's a better approach, and that they might perceive us bringing counsel as exactly the opposite of what we intend.
Right.
All right, well, I'll go along with the group, but that was just a thought that I had.
I hear you and I understand. I'm thinking the perception might be the opposite. I will call Todd and try to arrange a meeting between the board, and I will report back to the board if I meet with any major roadblocks. That pretty much covers what we had on membership. We do have, before the meeting where we defined the sequence of the process, we did have somebody who was already sent for a physical. So he's at this point passed the background check. He passed his physical. I think we should vote. His name is Kevin Nelson. He is seeking to join as a firefighter, right? Is that correct, Don?
That is, yep, that is correct.
And
interior firefighter.
He's going to be enrolled soon in a BFO course, or where are we at in that?
The classes that they had right here are both locked down. So as soon as one comes open, I get another one, he gets enrolled.
All right. So I would move.
Because he couldn't get enrolled until he was approved, so we kind of had a catch-22. But there's the last classes I've had, and I used to get, Steve can attest to, the number of classes I posted were astronomical. And so far for the year, I've had 2 classes to post. And that was it.
All right, so I think we should add, I would move that we add Kevin Nelson is his name to the active member roster for his probationary period, with the intent of him taking the BFO course and becoming a firefighter.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? He's young, he's gung-ho. You never know how people are going to turn out. We've interviewed him. If other people want to talk with him, we can arrange that. I think we should give him a chance. No other discussion? Russ, what's your pleasure?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. That motion carries. All right, is there any new business?
I have one thing. I'm looking at the fire district election schedule for 2020, and it says that the fire district board of elections, that this is the last day, October 29th is the last day to adopt the resolutions designated the fire district board of elections, including the chairman and the election inspectors. I don't know if that should be done tonight or
So
not.
we need to adopt that now. What's the intent of the motion, Rod, here? Did you hear what Karen said?
Yes, you've got to appoint the chairman of the Board of Elections as well as the tellers.
All right, so I would therefore move that Tony Erlajewski be appointed chairman of the Board of Electors, and that Pat Mastry and, help me with the other one, Karen,
Colleen McGarry.
Colleen McGarry be appointed tellers for the fire district election on December 8th. Is that sufficient wording, Rod?
Yes.
Okay, I need
I
a second.
second for discussion.
Go ahead.
We said we needed to add one more person.
If we add a door guard, does that need to be part of a motion, or Rod, or?
No, I would say if you're going to have someone at the door checking mask or checking temperature or checking people in the building, that's not a teller or the chairman of the board. So that would be somebody you would hire separately.
Okay. Good point, Bob. Any other questions or concerns?
You probably should, well, if you're not going to have it at the firehouse, you probably shouldn't include in as part of the motion where you are going to have the elections to be.
We should have it as part of the motion?
I'm thinking you should probably do that by October 29th at the latest.
We'll have to do a special meeting, Steve, for 5
Yeah, we'll
minutes.
have to do a special meeting because we got to get approval from the two churches. We got to get approval for the site.
Well, what if you don't get approval for the two sites? Are you going to have it at the firehouse?
I wouldn't see it that we had a choice.
Can we
So
decide on the 20th? When we have our budget thing, we include that?
Yeah, we could conceivably do it then. Because we're going to have a quick meeting afterwards to adopt the budget.
Right.
All right. So Karen, you'll let me know in time that I can call people and
Yeah, I'll get a hold of Tony tonight or tomorrow morning.
all right, great.
Are you having it at two different sites? Did I hear that correctly before?
No, we have a primary we have a preferred site and we have a secondary site if we
Oh,
can
okay.
get the primary site.
Okay, just one site.
One site.
Steve, we've got a motion on the floor. You want to vote on what we can know about? And
Yeah,
then
I think so. We have a motion. We have a second. Do we have any more discussion? All right, Bob, what's your pleasure?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Russ?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. That motion carries. All right, so any other new business?
Yeah, Steve, the company attending our board meetings, it's been months and months since we've had either a secretary of the company or the president or vice president.
Ed, last
Well, they just voted on the election people. They're trying to decide where they're going to have it. I hope I'm
Who
not.
they electing? Who's up for election?
What's all this?
we took care of that. I'm sorry, Bob, what was your?
Yeah, it's been months and months.
Oh, Ed was at the last
no
meeting.
representation.
But you're correct. It would be preferred that he would show up to the majority of the meetings. And as we have insisted, new members and changes in membership need to be read into the minutes for the district so we know that it's recorded. Right.
And he should come with that, or Karen should have it beforehand. The current active member roster that's versionized, if you will. And now we've got the physicals. This next meeting we're coming up, we need that information before the November meeting.
Okay, I will point that out to him. I'll send him a communication.
Or the secretary, the secretary of the company, even if she calls in. And if that doesn't work, then the vice president of the company. But they do forward communications. They can't keep doing what they're doing.
All right, if the caveat is that the results of the physicals go to Karen, so she would have to notify Ed so he could modify the active member roster if there was anybody that was precluded from participating on the basis of the results of the physical.
Yeah, Karen, and also Don, in a very timely fashion, needs to know.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, they know. The day I get it, I send it an email.
Yep. All right, any other new business? Okay.
I have one question, one more,
Yes.
sorry.
No, that's fine.
What are we gonna do about this fourth person? I mean, do you want me to find somebody, or who do you want that to be?
I would prefer that it was not somebody from the company. I don't know if you know anybody. If you don't know anybody, let me know. I know a few people.
Okay.
And it certainly cannot be a commissioner. Any other new business?
Do we have to talk about how much we're going to compensate him, or is that a done deal?
I thought it was
It's $50.
Yeah.
For the election inspectors and the chairman.
But this person is not that.
Correct.
So we compensate him at the same rate, question mark? And what are the hours of the election?
Well, last year it was 4 to 9. The year before it was 5 to 9. The year before it was 6 to 9.
How many did we have between 4 and 5? Do you recall, Karen?
I want to say for last year's election, there was a lot of people in the beginning.
What's your pleasure, gentlemen? What's the hours?
4 to 9.
4 to 9? Okay, anybody object to 4 to 9? Karen, can you do that?
Yeah, yep.
All right, 4 to 9 it is.
That's 5 hours and you're gonna pay somebody $50. I don't know if you're gonna get people to come out for $10 an hour.
Well, state law says you should only pay them $35, and you weren't getting anybody at that rate. So even paying them at 50, you're paying them more than state law says you should be paying them.
That's over. If you're, what I read last year was it was 35 when you were just doing the 6 to 9. When you expand the hours, it's 50.
Right. So that's what state law limits you to. Now you can pay them more if you want to, and probably you get your hands slapped when the auditors come around.
All right, I just didn't think anybody would come out for $10 an hour.
I agree with you, Russ. Being an elector is tough times now, and it's hard to find someone to do it, especially when the county's paying in the area of $300 a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Steve, you want to consider increasing it? We'll take the hit.
Oh, if the state law says 50, I think you better try to stay with it, but you know.
I think so. We usually buy him dinner too.
Better be a nice dinner then this year.
What's the barbecue place down in Salt Point there? So any other new business? Anything from the public?
Yes.
Art.
On the agenda, there's an item I didn't understand. I don't know if you addressed ambulance V-MUX issues.
Yeah, Bob touched on that briefly. Bob Simon, as part of his report, there was a PC board that worked some of the controls in the back of the ambulance that went bad, and we weren't sure if we could get the board repaired at a reasonable rate of money, or if we needed to buy a new board at an exorbitant rate of money, and Bob was able to get it repaired.
Thank you. Second item is in the discussion of what to do in order to give the district what it needs, the addition of space for a couple of bays added to the current firehouse, if that was in addition to rehabbing the current firehouse, expanding the current firehouse, as well as going across the to the new property.
Right. These are all possibilities that need to be discussed. I mean, I think it would be hard pressed right now to argue that the facility is adequate in terms of even election space, because we spent a lot of time discussing the fact that people would not feel safe in the current environment in that space. We know how crowded it can for meetings, but Art is right. We need to consider all possibilities.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public? Glenda, we got you out there. Elliot, anything from you? Barbara?
Are we going to be having another meeting of the facilities thing, Kevin, or is that not happening yet?
Well, we're gonna have another meeting as soon as I hear back from both Dennis and Bob when they're gonna come down. If we want to have a meeting beforehand, Elliot, we could do that to discuss what we think.
I think that, until you get response back from these two architects that are supposedly knowledgeable in firehouses and stuff, and until we get a time when they can come down, I don't think it would make much sense to have another meeting. And when they do, as you said, you're going to send out the information to everybody and say, okay, this is a date's available, and try to get the date when the most of us could show up at it.
Right, and once again, Dennis from PRA Associates, we should be hearing from him. Today's Wednesday. I don't see by tomorrow or Friday, I should have dates from him that I could put out there that everybody can agree on. The committee, the whole committee, can agree on meeting with them or him and his associates at the firehouse to go over what the existing firehouse, what we can do with that, and or move on. And then Bob, once I send up the answers to the 6 questions, Bob's going to put together crunch some numbers, and then his guys are going to come down, and they're both agreeable to come down in the evening on a weekday. So, those of us that still work, unfortunately, can meet them there in the evening time. But Elliot, if you want to get together beforehand.
That's okay. I was just thinking it might be an opportunity also to get a look at those blueprints and things that we got from McCormick and the other guy. Remember the engineer?
The Day engineering report?
Yeah, there might be an opportunity to look at those things too, but we don't have to do that right now. We can do that later.
All right.
I unfortunately think that most of those things that were done previously are going to have very limited value. These two architectural firms apparently are very knowledgeable from beginning to end in process of whether to rehab or not. As a matter of fact, they sent email with 100 and some pages of stuff from like the beginning of a project to the end of the project. I'm afraid that the stuff that was done prior to this was basically stuff that just basically said the building has problems here, has problems there, but it didn't relate to the fire company and the ocean, the PESH, and all the other requirements that we're bound by. So, I mean, I think that the previous stuff is very limited value to us myself.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of accuracy to what you're saying, Russ. I think you guys can decide offline if and when you want to meet, but thank you for the work you've done so far. Anything else from the public? All right, with that I covered, what, Art?
Does the district has a Zoom account if we wanted to Zoom offline?
Yeah, we could arrange something for you.
Thank you.
Yep, we pay our monthly dues on that, so to speak, or we paid it all ahead. I can't remember, for a period of time.
Yeah.
All right, if there's nothing else, I covet a motion to adjourn.
Steve,
Bye-bye.
this is a conversation between you and Rod. There's questions out there that need to be worked on. Not for this meeting, but just to make sure that now that we got Rod here, there's one in particular that I was concerned on.
Yep, I got it written down. I'll talk to Rod on that.
Good. Okay.
All right. Anybody else, or else I covet a motion to adjourn. Michael, you're good for that.
He's gone already. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right, we got a motion to adjourn. Bob, is that a second I heard?
Yes, that's a second.
All right, Kevin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Russ?
Aye.
Mike? Mike?
Out the door.
I guess Mike abstained. I vote aye. The motion carries 4-0. All right, thank you, gentlemen. Have a good night. And Karen.
You too.
All righty.